What's up guys, welcome to Freedive Passion. Today I'm going to discuss a question from Lewis Jones. Now Lewis is a scuba diving instructor. He describes himself as quite a natural freediver. He taught himself to dive to 30 meters without any, outside training. When he did finally decide to take a course, he progressed from being a 30 meter diver to being a 50 meter diver within 1 week. Now the thing is, during his 50 meter dive, he experienced a trachea squeeze. After this, he had a year off diving. When he had chance to go into the water again, he decided to do FRC dives. And on one of his FRC dives, he had another trachea squeeze. This was followed by another big gap in freediving. When he started to freedive again, he decided to build his depth up slowly and gradually. I'm not sure exactly how slowly or gradually, this is just how he described it to me. And once he got to 40 meters, once again, he experienced a trachea squeeze. Now each time he goes to depths around his residual volume, or even one time he did a dive which wasn't even close to his residual volume, he hears like a rattling, sort of wheezing sound coming from his lungs when he does a forceful exhalation to his residual volume. And the question that he has is he susceptible to lung squeeze? And if he is, how can he get around it so he can continue to progress in his depth? Thank you, Lewis. This is a great question, and it's going to address a growing problem in the sport. Okay, now let's discuss this first squeeze. Right, so I don't care how natural you are, how good you think you are, nobody has any business doing a 50 meter dive after just 1 week of proper training. When it's time to decide if you're ready to go deeper, there's much more to consider than can I equalize and did I black out on my last dive. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I can't even really blame your instructor because chances are he or she doesn't even have that much experience in freediving themselves. But the fact remains, you had no business going to 50 meters after just 1 week of training. As far as I see it, there are 3 factors which contribute to trachea squeeze. One is flexibility. The other one is undue movement putting extra stress onto your trachea. And the third one would be genetics. Now you were a scuba diver before and you've been self-taught in freediving. So what this tells me is you're going to have all kinds of ingrained bad habits in your diving. These habits need to be removed and replaced with proper form and technique before you ever even think about going below your residual volume. There are also new skills which need to be learned and mastered before you ever think about going below your residual volume. I'm talking about your free fall, relaxation of your diaphragm, your equalization, your finning, your turn at the bottom of the rope. Just because you can equalize to 50 meters doesn't mean you're doing it in the most gentle, subtle way and taking care of your trachea the way you should. And in your message that you sent to me, you gave me a tip which tells me the way you equalize is probably one of the big contributing factors to your trachea squeezes. You told me that you were equalizing to 50 meters using Frenzel alongside grouper calls. For those of you out there who don't understand what a grouper call is, it's making a sound like To make this sound creates a lot of tension in your stomach, in your intercostal muscles, and it's going to put a lot of stress on your trachea. Apart from that, if you're going to 50 meters, I doubt this is actually helping you equalize. I imagine you've kind of learned, without consciously learning it, how to reverse pack, and you are reverse packing down to 50 meters. This extra sound, this grouper call, is not actually helping you. You just feel like you need to do it because you don't have the experience and the subtle understanding of equalization to be able to do it without creating that tension and making that sound. If you learn to reverse pack properly, you'll be able to equalize at depth without ever creating any tension in your stomach. You'll be able to use the muscles in your mouth and your throat to be able to bring up the air to equalize. Whenever you're below your residual volume, you need to completely relax your stomach, allow your diaphragm to just move up naturally into your chest. This is reducing the airspace in your lungs and also reducing the stress on your trachea. The way you've been equalizing, I am absolutely certain, is contributing to your trachea squeeze. That first squeeze highlighted a problem. The next 2 squeezes only confirm the problem. You are prone to trachea squeeze. You are doing things which make that trachea squeeze come much sooner than what it necessarily has to, but there will always be a depth, there'll always be a point where you squeeze. So what's my advice? You know that you're prone to squeezing, so to keep trying to go deeper without changing any aspect of your diving is like banging your head against the wall to try and break a brick wall down. It's never going to happen. What you need to do is forget about going deep for as long as it takes for you to master, and I mean completely master, every aspect of your diving. You need to learn mouthfill because this is the most subtle, gentle way for you to equalize to depth. You need to master your duck dive, your finning technique, relaxation of your stomach. You need to be able to free fall in a straight line without moving in and out the line. Your turn at the bottom needs to be in a gentle, soft way, which isn't going to expand your chest or your rib cage in any way at all. Apart from that, you need to start lung stretching like today and every day until freediving is no longer your passion. Squeezing is essentially a flexibility related issue, and the best way for developing flexibility in your lungs and trachea is lung stretching. I also recommend you stop doing residual volume dives or FRC dives. These dives are very tough on your trachea, and since you already know you're susceptible to trachea squeeze, you need to just stop doing them, full stop. So how do you know what perfect form is? How do you know if you're doing these things subtly enough? How do you know if your mouthfill is good enough for you to be able to go to depth? Well, for me, I learned these things over years of training, with awareness, tens of thousands of dives, and dedicating my life to the sport. And you can do the same. But that required a hell of a lot of time, and I could afford to learn by trial and error because I'm not prone to lung squeeze. The best thing for you to do would be to find a coach or a mentor, somebody who really knows the sport through experience from training themselves and coaching other people. I'm not talking about just some random instructor who's done a 0 to hero and been freediving for a year. I'm talking about somebody who really knows the sport. This person will be able to guide you through the steps that you need in order to get past this problem. Now, even once your technique becomes perfect, you need to bear in mind there's still going to be at depth which you're going to squeeze at. All you're doing by mastering all these different aspects of your diving is making that depth deeper and deeper and deeper. So as you progress, you need to bear this in mind. You need to repeat dives, maybe 3 to 5 times, before you add any depth onto that dive. And when you do add depth, be conservative. I'm talking about like 2-meter jumps. This is going to be a long process for you, but I guarantee from this extra awareness, from this focus on technique and focus on relaxation, you're going to find a whole new fulfillment in your freediving. Alright, that's it, Lewis. I know you wanted some type of quick fix so you can get back to depth, but that's just not the reality. Anyone who tells you there's some sort of quick fix is a liar or a fool. Think of it like this. You wanted to go deep to test yourself, to prove yourself, to see what you could do, what you're capable of. And there's lots of people who have this drive. And I think this is great. I think testing yourself and pushing your limits is a great vehicle for self-discovery. But putting in this work is going to teach you dedication, patience, and self-awareness. And these things aren't going to test what you are, they're going to make you a better person. That's it, mate. I hope this video helped you, and I hope it helps anybody else out there who's suffering from a similar problem. Until next time, guys, take it easy and dive safe.